Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish in all the major podcast and social media platforms, and of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com. Charlie, welcome back to Atlanta.
Nice to be back here in the, is this Cobb County?
We're close to East Cobb.
Okay.
I think we're in Fulton County technically, but it's downtown Roswell, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to live in Sandy Springs and at Roswell and Abernathy.
Okay.
But I've never been to Roswell. I don't know what the heck I was doing. I literally never seen this area in my life.
How long ago were you in Atlanta?
Too long to even know.
Yeah.
But it was a long time ago.
Well, this whole area, I think, I just moved here 3 years ago. I think it's blown up in the last decade probably. So it probably wasn't even a thing when you were here, but welcome back.
Thanks. Good to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took a glimpse at your website. You're in the middle of like 4 straight nights of shows.
Yeah, that's true.
Nashville, a couple in Atlanta, and then Charlotte. I guess, how much out of the year do you try to do that or try to avoid doing that? Like, is this, how exhausting is that?
Well, I've been I do a lot of weekend warrior stuff where I leave, Wednesday or Thursday, come home Sunday, Monday kind of thing.
Okay.
And the travel's a lot because, when I first started travel, it was the roads, the amount of people, it's crazy. So just getting around and traffic jams and, one wreck can throw you like 3 hours getting somewhere. But I love it. I love traveling. I love getting to perform, and I like getting to see, cities and places I've never been. And it's none of it's easy as far as just, life's not easy, but I dig it. I dig it. Yeah.
When you have shows back to back to back to back like this, is it, hey, I'm just going to use the same set list to keep it simple, or is there a logic to how you put the set list together when you're playing so much?
I never do set lists, so I always just wing it out of my catalog when I get on stage. It's generally like, oh, everybody looks bored, I should do something fun. Or they just cried because that was sad and I cried, so let's lift everybody, up a little bit. No one wants to, stay in that sad sack place. It's nice to visit, but you don't want to live there the whole night. So I'll just kind of, I try to make it like a, riding a wave.
Okay.
Sometimes you're laughing, sometimes you're crying, sometimes you're checked out, sometimes you're just singing along. You don't know what's going on. That's what I hope for. So I basically I'm like everybody else. I just kind of want to like get lost in the whole thing.
Okay.
I don't want to be bored.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to be bored. I don't want them going like, how many more of these songs you think he's got before we get to go get into bed? Like, if I feel that's what's going on, then I try to hit them with a song that they're like, oh, I forgot about the fact that I hate this guy and want to leave. So that's
good. All right.
It's all in the moment, everything.
So is recalling lyrics, could that be challenging? Because your catalog is pretty giant, and if you don't really know what you're going to sing, song to song, is that ever a problem, or is it not really?
So far, it's not. Sometimes I can't remember, like, did I already sing this verse? And then I'll sing the whole verse over again. Or I'll get to a point and I'm like, is this where the bridge is? And did I sing the bridge already? That happens lately. But no one seems to notice. They're just like, oh, yeah, he just sang the same thing twice, whatever.
Yeah.
But mostly I get it right. My Sinatra years haven't really kicked in yet, so I'm still member stuff pretty good.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Well, we're in the middle of December. It's about the holidays. I guess, how important have the holidays been for you in your life, growing up, and are there traditions that you hold dear?
I love Christmas time. It's always, I grew up in Laurel, Mississippi, which is a small town, and we had such a beautiful Christmas situation. You know, we had these little streets where people would put like these giant postcards out with Christmas stuff, and the family would ride around and look at the little streets. And we had a candlelight service at my church, and I love Christmas trees. And I was a late Santa guy. So like even up till I was like 13, I was still like, there is a Santa Claus. I don't know what was going on. They had like, we were in like a total like Southern, like early 80s bubble of like these dudes have not figured it out. So I was all about it. My dad would leave little like my mom would sew these little green elf hats and leave them around the house and tell us that the elves were investigating to see if we were naughty or nice, and they lost their hat and we needed to leave it for them, and then the next day it would be like moved to somewhere else. And so yeah, I'm still into it, and you know, I love Christmas. Holidays, I don't really know what that means, but I love Christmas. Yeah,
okay, Christmas is the thing. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Versus what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right. So I remember my favorite gift ever was a Rawlings baseball mitt. You know, I remember how I felt the moment. Do you have a Christmas memory of a gift or a moment that you're like, okay, that was it can't get any better than that?
I really, as two things pop into my mind. One, remember the A Team?
Yeah.
With V.A. Liberto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he one? He was
one of the characters.
Yeah, one of the characters.
I wanted a Mr. T doll.
Okay.
One Christmas, and it was like they were impossible to get.
Yeah.
Every kid wanted a Mr. T doll, and I did get one, so that was a check.
Okay.
That on the list, and then I wanted a remote control R2-D2. I remember praying on the side of the bed for it, and I got a remote control R2-D2. So those were two classics. Yeah.
I think we're of the same era. I think we might be the same age.
Okay.
I might be a little bit older.
A little bit. Just
right? So we were born in 74. So turned 50 earlier this year. We were talking a little bit before. It's been, I think, the best year of my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess as you turned 50, was it dreadful to turn 50 for you? You know, what's your mindset now as we sort of look now? We're kind of, you know, the sun is setting a little bit for us both. You know, what do you think about that?
Well, you're kind of bringing me down now. I really hadn't thought about it, but now I feel like I might just take a nap. I don't know. I didn't put much stock in it. I mean, I definitely get sleepy earlier. Yeah. I definitely care to like when people are like, "Hey, we're all going to do this." I'm like, "Yeah, have fun with that. I'm good right here." Just a lot of that kind of stuff. But I don't know. It's definitely not been the best year of my life for sure.
Yeah.
I've had some good years, but it's been. Oh wait, what's the question? You want to know?
Well, just, you know, turning 50 hasn't meant anything.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks to get older.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like. I should probably just refrain from this. I'll say something really like, not. I was thinking about how today I was like, it's not the dying that I'm fine with the dying. I just don't want to be like, last night I saw Pat Sajak on TV doing Wheel of Fortune, and he looked like he was 180 years old. And I'm like, I don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
If I am going through it,
Yeah.
I want to be chilling on like a porch in a rocking chair, watching just leaves and stuff. I don't want to be on any TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm not that into it, but I'm also not into it.
Okay.
I'm just kind of whatever about it.
All right. Well, you mentioned no, I appreciate that. It's not great, but the thing is I actually feared. I had a harder time turning 30 than I did 50, which is.
I don't even remember turning 30.
I think we've lived two different lives, to be honest.
I haven't had a hard time with any of it as far as like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, you mentioned Laurel a minute ago. I think, you know, if those of us that have listened to your music for a year or 10 years, whatever, there's a few themes I want to talk about, but one of those is sort of place and home, right? So you're back in Mississippi now. I know you've lived in Europe and I think New York City for a bit, but you're back home now, I guess. Tell us about why that appears to be so important to you, and it comes through in your music.
I think just my family's there, and I had wonderful grandparents, and my parents were both from the same town. So both sets of my grandparents were from, just a few miles apart.
Nice.
And my family came to Mississippi, many, many, many generations ago. So I have lots of cousins and aunts and uncles and brothers and nephews. And so I think there's that. And then the thing I love about Mississippi is it still has an element of the rural and the natural and community, and it's a little rough around the edges, and it's not really that corporate, and there's a real sense of everybody kind of knows everybody. So, it's kind of, you're part of a thread. And I tend to be the kind of person that, I'm like a little baby, and if you show me like a shiny object, I'll just like run off and chase it and lose like 3 years of my life. Okay. So I try to do things to stay connected to the thread. And Mississippi does that for me. It's really beautiful too. Yeah, it's like an underrated beauty.
And your place that's relatively new to you is, I think it sits up on for Mississippi, a pretty high hill or mountain, right?
Yeah. I can see for 20 miles from my back porch above the tree line. So it's in North Mississippi. It's called the Hill Country, and it's got some pretty dramatic hills, and it also makes it pretty. Yeah. All
right. Well, some of the songs like Country Home, Where We Come From, Beach Town, No Place Like Home. Those are ones I just jotted down that kind of reinforce this. And then one of the, hopefully I can read my handwriting, but one of the quotes that I've seen, this is, I think, a few years ago, you might not remember this, but on this topic, I just love this. Someone asked you about, home in Mississippi, and I think you said, it's nice because no matter what, you can look at me and be like, what are you? And I can say, I'm someone who comes from a line of people that have been here for 150 years. And regardless of whatever anyone has to say, I belong here. That's pretty profound.
I said that.
Do you remember that? Yeah?
Yeah, I do remember that. And I mean it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's, we live in a transient world, and I like being somewhere that I'm not transient.
Okay. But even though it's kind of like a dichotomy, because we talked about earlier being on the road a lot.
My whole life is transient.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's holding two oppositions in the same truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess another theme, just like, most artists, but yours is, I think it's fascinating on how you approach it, is the topic of love. So I want to dig into this a little bit.
Okay.
The song that I was introduced to you with was to love and be loved.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that that was the first one I added to my my Spotify liked playlist. I think we were talking beforehand. You've never been married,
no,
right?
Mm-hmm.
I think you said you're dating someone now, which is awesome. But if someone was to date or wanted to date Charlie Mars, what could they expect from you're the boyfriend, or are you romantic? Are you creative? Are you reliable? Like what does that look like?
I think it depends on what part of my life you caught me in.
How about today?
Today?
Yeah.
I enjoy having a happy, trusting connection.
Okay.
And so that takes work. And then, there's a lot of the things in the world that you have to have boundaries from if you want that to happen. And so I try for that. And, you know, I think when you're young, most people are, you get older, you get wiser. That's all. It's true. That's the one good thing. You want to know the good thing about getting older? There's definitely some wisdom.
A little bit of wisdom.
But I'd like to think that I'm fun-loving, and I like to be outdoors, and I like to, you know, be spontaneous, and I like to have somebody with me that enjoys that. But, you know.
Do you subscribe to the love languages? You know, do you know what your love language is?
My love language is unbeknownst to me.
Do you want to know what it is, or are you comfortable in the mystery?
I'm comfortable in the mystery.
Okay, good. I read somewhere that you know, in terms of songwriting, the prolificness, if that's a word, of your songwriting, is it true that you have like hundreds of songs you've never recorded?
Not hundreds. I have plenty of songs I've never recorded, but definitely not hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't even know how prolific I am. I've just been around a long time.
Yeah.
So eventually, like, oh, there's a new song.
Yeah.
And yeah. Although I'm independent, and I have 10 albums, which is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like legends that they have like 4.
Right.
You know, how many albums did Nirvana have?
Right.
So,
right.
I guess I am pretty prolific.
Yeah. Is the inspiration just, you mentioned you like to be spontaneous, like in a relationship. Is the songwriting spontaneous for you?
It tends to be, yeah. There were times when I wrote in Nashville, which we were kind of there to write a song with other people. That's not spontaneous. But when I'm left to my own devices, I like for it to be about something I'm feeling, or something that interests me or that I'm connected to. And so sometimes I'm always putting myself in the place for that to happen. So I play a lot of guitar, I hang out, I sing, I'm always exploring, and then occasionally, you know, you explore, and something that piques my interest kind of pops out, and build on it, and that's kind of how it's gone. Yeah.
I mean, I know Heartbreak is a common sort of source of inspiration. Have you had a lot of heartbreak songs, do you think, or not so much?
I think I was born kind of heartbroken, so they're all a little heartbreak.
That's kind of sad.
I mean, yeah, maybe it is. It's true, though.
All right.
Except for the ones where I'm trying to cheer myself up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you felt the heartbreak? I mean, has it always been kind of part of you?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's no one's fault. I think I just kind of like you're born right-handed, you know?
Sure. All right. Well, I'm hopeful for you that whatever relationship you're in now, the heart won't feel broken moving forward.
Yeah. I've had a lot of, I'm an optimist, but I think anybody who writes good songs probably, you know, it's coming from some, I don't want to say dark place, but what would I say?
Angst.
Some kind of a conflicted, you know, place that when you write a good song, especially when you're a little kid, you know, if that's what you're doing, if you started young like I did, there's a moment in the writing, and if the song is good, and I've written a lot of songs that they're not great, but I have written a few songs that I think, for me or whatever, I think they've lasted and they've touched people, and I knew when they happened that might happen. Awesome. Because there was something special, and it's a transcendent moment. when you're not, it's like you're not there, and it's very peaceful, and your spirit is risen to touch something else, and it's a very it's a place you crave to return to. And I think that's my whole life, is just a desire to have a moment in that light and then to try to get back to it.
Do you experience that mostly when you're performing live, or does it manifest itself in
I've experienced it live, but in the writing process, when you land on something that just,
oh wow,
it's the same. It's just there's this relief, and like you became a voice crying out in the wilderness for just a second.
Do you remember a song where you had that feeling from?
I think I was my song "Nothing But the Rain" is one of those moments. The lyric says, "Won't you come a little closer?" And then it says, "If I come closer, I may fall like the snow in the water and disappear in it all." And I think that's, everyone wants to come closer, but there's that terror also of getting closer and disappearing. Yeah. Are you disappearing into a higher love, or are you losing yourself in a way that you don't want to? And that's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. That's amazing. So you mentioned 10 albums a minute ago. I guess, where do you think you are as an artist today, and where do you want to be?
I don't put a lot of thought into it as far as where I want to be or what kind of artist I am. I literally just, that moment where all is right, I think I just keep trying to go back to that. Yeah. And as long as the bills are paid, and sometimes you're more popular, sometimes you're less. Sometimes you think everybody's your friend and you realize that they're all gone for whatever reason. Sometimes you think you're all alone, and all of a sudden you have all these people that are around you that support you. So it's always changing. I mean, I've never been a person that, like, I'm going to wear a cowboy hat or I'm going to like wear mascara and play Blink-182-ish music, or I just could never do any of it. I just always liked songwriters, and, from the South, I do like I grew up on alt country, and I think that there's an element of just that kind of folk, sort of outsider country, classic singer-songwriter ethos that I was at a pivotal age, that was kind of, what I got filled with, and that's kind of where I've been coming from ever since.
That's awesome.
But I also am always trying to dodge just, I don't want to be like any kind of thing that it's like, you're now like, you got to go sing at a honky tonk and promote beer or whatever. Yeah. Like, I just could never do any of it.
Yeah, I don't see you doing that much.
Yeah. And so I don't know. Yeah. Like, every year I'm like, oh, I made it another year. This was I didn't think last year I was going to make it. And then even like a month ago I was like, oh, I don't have any gigs in spring. I need to think about that. And then this popped up and that popped up, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good until April. It's like, I don't know. Yeah. And the whole business has evolved to the model that I was in for a long time has shifted. And if I hadn't really built like a grassroots kind of troubadour life, I think I would have been in trouble.
Yeah. No, it's good on you for doing that. So I know you're extremely thoughtful. You're well read. You've seen the world. I guess at this point in your life, at 50, what are you most curious about?
What am I most curious about? The truth. what is the ultimate reality? What is actually going on with me, with you, with politics, with nature, with God, with everything, What happens? Where are my illusions? Can I figure out where they are?
Yeah.
And what can I strip away, and what's underneath it, and what's the truth?
Okay.
And then sometimes that's really scary, and then I like to watch Netflix series and eat popcorn and go to sleep before it's time.
Sleep early. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're 50, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, your last album was, I think Times Have Changed about a year ago, so end of 2023. Does that album mean any different to you now that it's kind of been out there and you've been performing a lot of the songs? Or is it kind of, in the rearview mirror and you're thinking about the next one?
I'm always thinking about the next one the day I finish the last one. So I kind of move on. Like, okay, did that. I just enjoy playing the songs. Yeah. And that album is kind of a nod to the way I grew up, and maybe, when I was a kid, I just wanted to get out and, experience everything, and didn't want anybody telling me what to do. And now I see the error in some of that, and I enjoy simple things and simple pleasures. I'm grateful for them. I find peace in that, Yeah. Like some people, they're like, oh, if I go to this or Paris or, hike the Himalayas or whatever. And I'm like, my dog, cup of coffee, pleasant, temperate day. Yeah. This is good. I don't need to be at Art Basel in Miami or in, Ibiza at 4 a.m. Yeah. Frying my brain.
Okay. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Do you have anything planned for 2025 in terms of new music or any recordings?
I've got some new songs that I really like, and I've got shows in 2025 that are going to keep the lights on. So yeah. I'm good, bro.
Okay. Well, appreciate you swinging by my humble abode here in Roswell, and thanks Charlie for your music and for who you are as a person.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Okay.